Okay, on with the Outrage Velocity 50 build videos, and glad to get started on this. It's been a while. Sorry guys, just been too busy to get stuff done. Anyway, as always I say read through the manual, get to know it, study the steps before you do it, you know, that kind of thing. It'll make life easier, and hopefully my videos will help life easier as well. Anyway, I'm just going to tell you I'm going to change some stuff on how the build goes simply for video reasons. I'm going to build this part of page 2 first. I'm going to skip this part next. I'm going to skip the washout and main shaft next, and then go to the grips next. And that's simply because getting a head with a fly bar under here is kind of difficult while you're doing the head. So I'm going to mix the steps around a little bit. Feel free to watch my videos if you want to follow the manual, all right, because I will cover each step. All right, so with that, let's start with the first step. First step is to get your head block out, all right, out of the big bag of parts. Get your seesaw out. In one bag is the seesaw pivot screws, the balls, the head button, and the screws for the head and the head button. Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute, and let me zoom in a little bit here. You will notice that on the seesaw, this head's very adjustable, by the way, so be ready to make decisions as you build. Now, this stuff can be changed easily later, although if you make a change, you probably have to adjust some lengths. Anyway, you'll notice on the seesaw there's 3 holes. Very stable, says start here first, which is obviously middle of the road, and then less stable, advanced, okay? Now, for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start where it says start here. I probably will go to, advanced. You folks that are new, just learning to fly, that kind of thing, you probably want to come out here, okay? But I'm going to go in the middle for now, and the reason is later when you build the seesaw, there's another adjustment that makes things faster too. So I'll probably go with fast on the sorry, not the seesaw, the fly bar cage. I'll probably go fast on that, and middle of the road here, and then possibly move in after. Okay, so on with this step. Now, the manual shows installing the bearings yourself, installing the bearings into the seesaw yourself, but my kit came with the bearings pre-installed in the head, all right? And as you see, my seesaw was pre-installed. Okay, so go ahead and out of this bag get your balls and your pivot screws, your shouldered pivot screws. Additionally, it showed these screws as being 2-piece, a bushing and a screw. All right, so obviously this has been updated since this manual because mine are now 1-piece pivot screws, which is really nice actually. Okay, so now with the head, the seesaw goes one way. You can actually put it in backwards. So what you want to do is orient yourself. So, and hold on, since I'm working upside down, I want to do this right. Orient yourself so as you're looking at the base of the head, to your left, the holes for the balls are there, because you can insert this backwards so that the holes on the balls are on the wrong side. If you do that, you're going to be kicking yourself later. So make sure you get this so bottom of the head pointing towards you. All right, let me widen up a little bit here. Bottom of the head pointing towards you, and so that to your left, you've got the holes for the ball links. All right, so let's go ahead and put these shoulder screws in. Now, since the bearings are already installed, what I recommend you do is apply the Loctite in the hole rather than on the screw, and don't make a mess of this, because when you put this in, that stuff can squeegee out and get into a bearing and mess up a bearing. Also, as always, I'm starting this build. I won't say this every time. Clean your screws with acetone or alcohol and get any residual grease off. Same with the holes. All right, so let's go ahead and get the seesaw in. Don't forget your Loctite, and we'll come back and review. Okay, got the seesaw on. When you're done, make sure it's nice and free. I recommend tightening these up evenly. Snug them up, then go tighten them up, and make sure your seesaw is nice and free. Okay, now the next thing is the manual shows these balls as having a hex base for tightening them up into the seesaw. Mine came with an Allen wrench base, so we're going to do the same thing. Apply some Loctite, Okay, again, don't make this a sloppy mess. Watch my Loctite video. And again, I'm going in the middle hole to start with. Chances are I'll be moving that to the more speedy hole on the inside. Alright, and tighten those up. And go ahead and put the next one on. Alright, so that finishes step one. Once we get the ball on, notice they're not having you put the head button on yet. Reason is later when you're doing your grips and whatnot, you don't want that head button getting in your way, so that'll come on last. So set this aside for the build, and we'll continue on. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to skip a couple steps and go to assembling the grip arms and the mixer arms onto the grip arms. So go ahead and get those two bags out, get the parts out, get them separated, and we'll go ahead and start building. Okay, so the first step is let's go ahead and get the balls on these mixer arms, okay? And notice the balls go on the inside. Now, the way you tell the inside is you'll see that this portion here is longer than the other side, and the balls go on the inside. Now, there's a decision to be made. Once again, it has different ball locations for different head speed, cyclic speed. So I'm going to go with, on these, Advanced 3D. So I'm going to go on the inside hole on this 2-hole side. And I'm going to go to Advanced 3D recommended for the middle hole on this 3-hole side. Alright, you can always change stuff later, but again, realize that if you do, you'll probably be adjusting link lengths. So that's what I'm going to do. So inside on this one, middle hole on this one. Okay, I'd love to start out with the Advanced 3D. I'm pretty sure I can handle it, but, you know, new heli to me, so I want to try it. For you guys that are, you know, just starting out and whatnot, I would recommend going with the beginner and the beginner. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the balls on, and we'll come back and review. Okay, there we have it, and let me zoom in a little bit. So again, notice that the balls are on the inside of the mixer arms with the larger portion of the mixer arm in relation to the balls. Okay, so now to the blade control grip arms. As you see, again, we've got choices here. We've got 3 holes. Again, the manual states here that we have the outside hole, which is very responsive, advanced, less responsive, and responsive best. I'm going to go with the responsive best on this one. I'm going to go with the middle hole on these. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the bolt through. Now my arms already had the bearings installed with the spacer in the middle. What you might want to do is, since these are pre-assembled, is look inside there and make sure that spacer's in there, because if you tighten that screw up and that spacer's not, it's going to get notchy on you. That's what the spacer does. Traps the inner races of the bearings. Anyway, put that spacer on. Go ahead and Loctite these. Now, notice the orientation of these arms. There's a step in the arm. This is going to go into the blade grip, okay, not the other way around. That step goes into the grip. So what we want to do is, with the countersunk for the heads on this side, what we want to do is we want to mount that mixer arm. I'm going with the middle hole onto here. Again, don't forget your Loctite. Same thing with the balls. Don't forget your Loctite, okay? So let's go ahead and get the mixer arms on the blade grip arms, and we'll take a look. Okay, there we have it. We got the mixer arms made. You'll notice the step here that's going to go on the grip. Notice the balls facing toward the mixer arm. Make sure they're nice and free when you're done. If they're not, make sure that maybe the bearing wasn't seated all the way into the mixer arm and the spacer was not in between. Get your balls where you want them. All right, the next thing is, in the bag that came with the mixer arms and everything, get the 4 8mm screws out. Clean them up with alcohol, etc., etc. You'll notice there's a slot in these mixer arms. They go on this way, obviously not this way. They go on this way. Don't forget your Loctite. Let's go ahead and get the mixer arms on, and we'll continue on.